here we are at 30 years of Siebel CRM. Can you believe it? So the past 3 decades have been quite a ride for the world's biggest CRM. Yes, we can say that. And we're going to celebrate 30 years of Siebel CRM here at the Siebel Hub Learning Experience with, you guessed it, 30 videos. And this is the first one. And we might just go down a rabbit hole here, and we might find that the 30th video is totally different from the first one. So we're just really winging it here. And I thought it would be just the best way of starting off a 30th anniversary celebration video with actually looking at the history of Siebel CRM, which goes even further than 30 years in the past. So strap in, buckle up, and here we go. So we are on the Siebel Hub homepage, so you can't just do this yourself. If you go to Knowledge and Books and Media, then we have the glorious Siebel CRM Timeline. So, and this is a timeline we curated when we started the Siebel Hub way back, also 10 years ago, more than 10 years. And the decade's just dropping here. So let me zoom in a little bit. And we might even get this full screen. So you continue here. No, we don't get this. Not getting full screen, but you can see here the very first date in our timeline is not 1995, it's actually September 1988, where a younger Tom Siebel, then Vice President of Direct Marketing at Oracle, along with his team, launched a project in Oracle named OASIS, the Oracle Automated Sales Information System. Now, if you're a Siebel veteran, you might, SIS just rings a bell, but it's not the same SIS. So OASIS, quite a nice name. And our timeline has interactivity, so you can learn more about this. Click the Find Out More button. And if the links still work, because yeah, believe it or not, has been a while. This leads to a blog of Mai Ling Feng, who worked with Siebel CRM, and she has a memoir here of the old days of 1988 when the OASIS project started. So it's really something to get deep down and understand the Oracle Automated Sales Information System, which was developed at Oracle under Tom Siebel, was really the blueprint for what became Siebel CRM later. So yeah, take your time to read that. So I'm not, of course, not going to read all of that aloud here. And well, that was just the start. So I switched to a full screen version of that timeline. And as we scroll along in that 3D version, there's another article here from 1990, so 5 years before Siebel started. And it's a news article you can find about the Oracle Automated Sales Information System, or OASIS. So again, follow the links. Let's see if we can find out more here. Yes, that's still there. So thanks to Google Books, actually, they scanned the newspaper, what was it, Network World. And Network World back in 1990, in May 1990, had an article on around Oracle, and that mentions on a side note the OASIS system. So you can see already the scale of the system was significant. 800 salespeople, supporting 800 salespeople, running on different markets, etc., and catering towards the needs of a large sales organization. And if you read up on Tom Siebel's personal history, he left Oracle and went to Gain Technology, which was then acquired by Sybase, a name which rings several bells in your head if you're a Siebel veteran. And Siebel Systems was founded proper on 3rd of January 1993 by Tom Siebel, of course, and Patricia House. So that was the first, well, the first time Tom Siebel used his name for a company and then later a product. So there were various events in there. Of course, it all happened in very rapid succession. So only 2 years later, the first version came out, which is what we celebrate. So let's forward here a little bit. So here's Charles Schwab, who joins the board of directors in 1994. And then, of course, the competition between the ex-Oracle vice president of marketing and the Oracle CEO Larry Ellison became a topic in the news in the early internet when, well, it was a veritable competition and a openly carried out fiendship, if you will. And this, well, not really amused Larry Ellison at the time when Siebel Systems actually became, well, successful with their initial release of what was then called Siebel Sales Enterprise, or the famous SSE moniker or acronym comes from. So Siebel Sales Enterprise was released on 3rd April 1995, and that is just around the corner, the 30-year anniversary of the first version of Siebel CRM. But of course, that was just the beginning. And in a quick succession, of course, the second version was released also in 1995. And Siebel was so successful that it went public in the year after, 1996, and quickly became, well, first a self-proclaimed leader, but then also the publicly acknowledged leader in sales and marketing information systems. Notice how in 1996 the focus was still on sales and marketing, and with Siebel 3 in late 1996 it was still sales and marketing, but then Siebel had enough money to make significant acquisitions. Interactive Workplace was one of those companies, Nomadic Systems, and Siebel became a name in the industry by, for example, adding a Siebel certification path. So if you're watching this and you're Siebel certified back in the day or just recently, congratulations. That's a great career path to be upon. The Scopus acquisition was also very interesting because it added customer service software or call center software to the Siebel portfolio. So the next release, Siebel 98, already was more broad with sales, service, and marketing. And Siebel 99 came back in, well, late 1998. And that was the first, believe it or not, the first web-based Siebel CRM, even if the client for employee applications was still a dedicated client, or as was used back in the day, fat client. But it already features browser-based interfaces for consumer-facing or partner-facing applications, and even included handheld support. Yes, so 10 years before the first smartphones came around, the first clumsy handhelds were there, and they were already supported. So mobility was always on the forefront here, and the internet just took off in the late 90s, of course, and Siebel was right smack in the middle of that. And many people say today that Siebel systems struggled really to adopt the internet. So the funny thing is that they started with a web portal for sales information. So that was not Siebel as a web portal. That was a different portal. It was called sales.com. And soon after sales.com was launched, Siebel was recognized as the fastest growing company by the Fortune magazine. So there are lots of articles out there in 1999 about acknowledging the growth of Siebel, the mere growth. It went from a startup to a billion-dollar company in just about 5 years. And that, of course, triggered alliances with the big consultancies like IBM and led to even more acquisitions. So On Target was one of them. Deloitte and other consultancies became global strategic partners and launched Siebel CRM projects by themselves. So one of the biggest CRM projects back in the day was the IBM one. So IBM no longer uses Siebel CRM. They stopped using it or started to stop using it after Oracle acquired Siebel. But that is in the future. We are in the year 2000, and Siebel is still going strong and acquires more companies and releases, of course, Siebel 2000, the last dedicated client-based, the last client-server-based release, 25 years ago. That was a milestone release. It had an incredible amount of features and innovation, most of which we still see today in the modern Siebel infrastructure, such as EAI, business services, and so forth. Siebel tried to compete with the cloud-based CRM, the one that came out around 1999, Salesforce.com, and Siebel tried hard to compete. Salesforce.com was aiming at the large customer base that Siebel basically left out with its complex CRM, the mid-market, the small and medium businesses. So Siebel released a downsized version of Siebel CRM. Yeah, you can argue if it was successful or not. The Siebel mid-market edition was released in 2000, and there are more acquisitions and the first billion in revenue in the year 2000, so nearly 5 years after the first release of the software, which is still, I think, one of the biggest growth in the industry. And famously, Siebel 7, the first completely web-based version that ran exclusively in a browser, except Siebel Tools, of course, which we still have today. And that was released in September 2001. And personal side story here, my own Siebel journey as an employee of Siebel Systems started earlier in 2001 as well. So I remember vividly the days when we just literally upgraded internally at Siebel Systems from Siebel 2000 to 7.0 and suddenly had to open a web browser, Internet Explorer back in the day, of course, and navigate the, different user interface. And not everybody was convinced that this was the right track. But in hindsight, of course, going web-based was the only option. There was another acquisition back in the day, which was quite significant. That was the acquisition of Enquire. Now, you might not know what Enquire was, but you probably know what Oracle Analytics is, which was formerly Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition. And that was the Siebel Analytics. That was Enquire that Siebel acquired back in 2001. And Siebel Analytics was a product then, and a very successful product, and Oracle made it into Oracle BI and later Oracle Analytics. And of course, there were more news about the man who sees around corners, Tom Siebel's ability to predict a recession back in 2001. We all know what happened in September 2001, and there was a recession after that. And Tom Siebel saw the pipeline decline in our own Siebel CRM, in our own Siebel dashboards. And so that, of course, was the news back then. So, Tom Siebel in the news again. And let's go forward to 2003, where there was, or 2002 rather, where there was Siebel European User Week, so Siebel started to become a global phenomenon. The largest organizations across the globe started their Siebel CRM projects and implemented it. Siebel 7.5 was released in 2002, and there was also a very interesting, and personally I was very invested in the Universal Application Network, and that was a way of trying to create a hub and spoke integration between standardized systems such as SAP and Siebel CRM and Oracle Business Suite. It didn't really fly, but it was a great project to have. And then the bad weather started. So Siebel had the first net loss reported since 1998 in 2002. The burst of the dot-com bubble, the recession hit Siebel really bad. But Siebel kept churning out new features and products such as Universal Customer Master or UCM. And Accenture joined the fray with the global partnership. Siebel 7.5 was released in 2003. So Siebel kept on going. And CRM On Demand was released as a response to Salesforce. Too little, too late, some might say in hindsight, but CRM On Demand was publicly available until quite recently, and it's now, as I heard, not confirmed, no longer sold as a product by Oracle. At Siebel Systems, there was forward-looking engineering. So the project Nexus was a service-oriented framework that was supposed to run on .NET and J2EE, which was all the rage back then. That's still more than 20 years ago. And that was never released because of what happened a few years later. So there was a release of 7.7 in 2004, and then the turmoil started to become really bad. Tom Siebel stepped down as CEO. Mike Lawrie became the CEO. Oracle, in the meantime, had acquired PeopleSoft. A very similar story to Siebel Systems, by the way. An ex-Oracle vice president, Craig Conway, founded PeopleSoft and became largely successful. And Oracle started reacquiring those companies. So PeopleSoft was the first, a very hostile acquisition. And Oracle planned big back in the day to use the best of breed features they had in their own e-business suite, ERP, and in PeopleSoft, the acquisition. And the project was dubbed Fusion, to fuse together the modules and features across the acquired and homegrown products that Oracle had. But Oracle had not yet acquired Siebel Systems. So that's 2004. And Siebel kept fighting, kept competing with Salesforce, a battle which would eventually be lost in the small and medium business market completely to the web-based Salesforce. They ate Siebel's breakfast and lunch and dinner. No questions asked. There's an award for Siebel Business Analytics, so it was very groundbreaking back in the day. Another CEO came, George Shaheen, following Mike Lawrie. We saw the release of 7.8, which should be the last release under the aegide of Siebel Systems, because just later in 2005, Oracle acquired Siebel Systems. So the acquisition was announced in September 2005 and would eventually take until mid-2006 to complete. And the buying price that Oracle put on the table for Siebel Systems was $5.8 billion. So that is the end of Siebel Systems Incorporated, but that was 20 years ago, or almost 20 years. And that was just the start of what we see now as 2 decades of Oracle owning Siebel CRM. And it was a very interesting time to witness. So I personally was an employee at Siebel Systems in 2005, and I lived through the acquisition and became an Oracle employee. So Siebel still acted as a separate company. So there was the last customer world in Boston. People starting to leave, of course, not just Pet House. A lot of people left Siebel Systems. They abandoned ship. And the Oracle Siebel acquisition was then officially complete in June 2006. And Oracle, of course, had a host of products to digest, not just the Siebel CRM, but also the Siebel Analytics, which became OBIE, the Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition, 10G back in the day, the version number of the first release. And also Oracle kept releasing Siebel, and Oracle switched to version 8. So everything that starts with 8 was under Oracle. So 7.9 was in the making at Siebel Systems and came out in the public as 8.0. Another acquisition that Oracle made in a short amount of years, so just maybe 10 years or so. They made over 100 acquisitions. And one of them was a company called Ruleburst Holdings. Might not ring a bell, but it was the parent company of Haley Limited. And Haley was famous for an integration actually with the old Siebel, the business rules. And that later became Oracle Policy Automation, or OPA, or later Oracle Intelligent Advisor. So this software has a big history with Siebel CRM, not just public sector as mentioned here, but public sector is in an industry where policies, of course, reign supreme. So we have Siebel 8.1.1 released in 2008. And what happened to the Siebel fray of veterans, of course, who did not either bother to stay at Oracle or left Siebel before. So Tom Siebel, Ed Abbo, the engineering king of Siebel Systems, Pat House, and other executives founded a company called C3 Energy. And that company supposedly was developing energy grid analytics software. So it was very stealthy back in the day, and I didn't really follow it personally. But that was what happened to the Oracle executives. They founded a company there. And Siebel kept going under Oracle. There was not much new features into Siebel, as it was pretty much feature complete when Siebel was acquired regarding functionality and applications, but integration with other software was changing, and so the reporting third-party software called Actuate, not an Oracle product, was replaced by an actual Oracle product, BI Publisher. Another release of OBIE came in 2010, 11G. So we're 5 years after the Oracle acquisition here. And 7 years after the announcement, Oracle launched Fusion Applications. So that had not much to do with the initial idea of fusing together the acquired applications like PeopleSoft, Siebel CRM, and others like Hyperion. It was rather, different. It was a dedicated web-based software on-prem because cloud, it was too early for cloud for Oracle in those days. And it still lives until this day, but it's hosted exclusively on Oracle Cloud now. Then there was the very strange release number 822, which was the public sector release. It was specifically some public sector features which were in an exclusive branch for whatever reason. And then the news came in that years after the Oracle acquisition, that is 7 years in 2012, IBM announced that they replaced Siebel CRM. Then still the largest Siebel CRM deployment user-wise, and they replaced it with Sugar CRM, which was making the news back then. Interesting that it took IBM 7 years to replace Siebel CRM, which might not say much, but it is a long time. How did Siebel evolve over the years? So it's 2012 in December, and the first Open UI release is available, 8.1.19, and that enabled modern browsers back then, the emerging modern browsers. Internet Explorer was no longer the biggest and only browser in the enterprise. There were Firefox, Google Chrome, and they quickly ate up the market. And they did not support ActiveX, which was the main functionality driver in the Siebel high-end activity web client. So OpenUI was released by Oracle just in time to cater for these modern browsers. And now, of course, 12 years later, at the time of this recording, OpenUI is the only option that you run. Should you still run a non-Siebel OpenUI high-end activity version, then you are really left behind, and you should upgrade immediately, ASAP. Oracle then started shipping innovation packs. So innovation IP13 was the first official innovation pack, which introduced a faster way of upgrading the incremental repository merge, and was, of course, in a yearly cadence, followed by IP 2014, which introduced the Aurora theme, which is one of the themes that most projects use until today. And, well, believe it or not, we can celebrate another anniversary. 10 years ago, the Siebel Hub launched. So fast forward to 2015, we had IP15 with a preview of the never-to-be-released CRM Composer. And Oracle BI was upgraded as well, so we followed along the two main products, Oracle BI and Siebel CRM 15.5 came along. What happened to C3? C3 got rebranded. The company run by Siebel veteran CEOs and executives was now targeting the emerging IoT market. So the company was rebranded to C3 IoT. And 2016 was also the year where the first availability of Siebel CRM on Oracle Compute Cloud, as it was named back then, was available. So Oracle was a late bloomer in the cloud market, and now is, of course, in 2025, one of the biggest cloud hyperscalers. But then Oracle just got started in cloud, but Siebel 15, basically, you could run as an instance on Oracle Cloud. So we had IP16, famously the first OpenUI only release, and also introducing the REST API. So the REST API was released in IP16, not 17, as many people think. And then, of course, IP17, according to Oracle, the biggest, boldest, and most innovative release of the recent years, now already 8 years almost. Has been 8 years almost since IP17 was released, which changed the game and really made Siebel ready for cloud deployment or container deployment, or you name it. Any modern day deployment of Siebel relies heavily on this architecture that was introduced in 2017. So again, yearly we had new releases of Siebel, but Oracle changed something significantly in 2018, where they abandoned the innovation packs. So IP17 was the last innovation pack, and then it was still releasing Siebel, but on a monthly basis, new updates starting in April 2018. So from then on, we can say it's now Siebel year number, Siebel 18, Siebel 19, Siebel 20, and we have the continuous release model, which allows us to update, not upgrade, to do very short updates compared to a big upgrade to get to the latest release. So that was a very important step in the Siebel history, and super glad personally to have that model, and it's 7 years almost on the market. So we fast forward to 2019, where Siebel 19 was released, and basically now it's actually simple. If you have the January release of whatever year, 19.1, Siebel 19 is officially out. Siebel 20.1, Siebel 20, and guess what? At the time I'm recording this, Siebel 25.1 is just at the door and will be released in a few days. So Siebel 25 is just around the corner. Oracle Analytics was branded, replacing OBIE products. And we have Siebel 2020. Oracle Analytics went through a different release numbering scheme. 5.5 was a product in 2020. And C3, the company that we are following here as well with the ex-Oracle veterans, ex-Siebel veterans, sorry, they launched a product called C3 AI CRM, now being already rebranded to AI 2 years before the generative AI revolution with ChatGPT. They were already on the AI market and announced C3 AI CRM. So I've not followed the product, but this was an announcement. Then we had Siebel 21. Oracle started publishing industry CX solutions, one called Digital Experience for Communications, now rebranded to Digital Business Experience. And that is interesting on a Siebel scale because this product, or digital experience products by Oracle, actually include Siebel CRM. In DX4C, Siebel CRM was just a backend with REST integration, but digital business experience actually providing most of the front-end experience as well. But that's another story, really. Siebel 22 we have, and also in 2022, so we are almost at the end of this timeline, Siebel Cloud Manager was publicly released, and Siebel Cloud Manager changed the game for modern day deployment, where you can just use an API to deploy Siebel CRM in Oracle Cloud or other clouds on Kubernetes or similar container orchestration infrastructure. Then we had Siebel 23 in, well, 2023. And the last item here in our timeline is the release of Siebel 24. Of course, we have now witnessed 12 releases of Siebel 24. And we're just waiting for 25.1, so I can add another tile to this timeline. So as we go back in the timeline, back in time, I hope you enjoyed the Siebel timeline presentation. I hope you can find the timeline. Usually you find the link in the description of the video. So back to 1988 we are, where the first project at Oracle started. And wow, it has been a ride so far. So 25 plus, 30 plus years in the past. And here's to another at least 30 plus successful years for Siebel CRM. Live long and prosper. Thank you for watching. Take care and bye-bye.